I'm sure like everyone else, everyone is staying home and watching a lot of streaming services, movies, TV shows, playing some video games. So I thought how I spent last month watching a lot of crap on Netflix, Stan, Foxtel, basically the streaming services we have available in Australia. I would give a rundown of the stuff I watched and let you know if it's worth checking out. So first off, movies. You have the Willoughbrys. So that only just came out. It's good with their animated style. They did an incredible job creating the movie, but the story itself isn't that interesting. It's pretty boring. I've noticed with a lot of reviews, parents are saying their children really loved it, but they weren't that into it, and I must agree. It gives a nice message saying just because someone is related to you, you don't need to take what they say to heart. Sometimes just because someone's related doesn't mean they're going to love you. There's people out there that will decide to love you more than your family. It is a nice message, but I feel like it's too much of a deep message for a lot of children to understand, and a lot of adults are going to be bored. So I'm not exactly sure who their audience was that they really wanted for this film. The next movie was Mark of the Devil. I watched the English dub version. The Spanish version might be better with their translation. I feel like the dub ruined it a lot because the voice actors just had no emotion. There was a lot of things going on because obviously there's possession involved. They should be scared. They should be concerned of what's happening to their loved one. But there was just no emotion in their voices whatsoever. The storyline was kind of a different adaptation of Constantine, the movie with Keanu Reeves. I really love Constantine, but this just kind of really fell flat. I just did not enjoy it. I feel like the dub really did ruin it though, so if you're going to watch it, go for the original language. Dangerous Lies. This kind of reminds me of those midday movies that you'd sit at home and watch with your mum when you're home sick from school. They are just they are decent movies, but they're not something you're going to remember in a week or so. So while I did enjoy it, it's pretty forgivable. There's a lot of plot holes in this film, so it's basically take it as it is. If you try and read too much into it, it's just going to ruin it even more for you. The next film was Extraction. Chris Hemsworth is fantastic in this. He can make a really great action hero. He's generally well known for Thor, but a lot of people haven't seen him in his action army type roles like 12 Strong and Red Dawn. So I feel like him doing Extraction is going to get more attention to other film roles he can do. Extraction, the action sequences and fight sequences are fantastic. If you like fight sequences that you can see in John Wick, you will enjoy the fight sequences. Otherwise, the storyline does fall flat quite often. About an hour or so into it, they kind of take a break from the fighting and get more into the story. And I did kind of lose interest when it got to that part. But otherwise, the fight sequences are fantastic and worth checking out if you're a Chris Hemsworth fan. Sit down, enjoy some popcorn at home, and yeah, it is worth watching if you're into fight choreography and the stunt work that they pulled off in this film. The next film is The Last Thing He Wanted. This stars Anne Hathaway, Ben Affleck. They got a lot of great cast in this. Willem Dafoe rocks up. I don't know what kind of dirt they have on these casts to convince them to do this piece of shit, horrible film. But I'm really curious of what blackmail they use, because that's the only thing that could explain why they were in this film. It's a really horrible film. The twist they kind of try and pull off, the ridiculous survival that she tries to pull off. Anne Hathaway does a great job for what they gave her, but the film itself is just such a complete train wreck. It is the biggest load of pretentious crap I've watched in a very long time. It is not worth watching. There is a million other movies on Netflix that have a similar story that are 100 times better than The Last Thing He Wanted. So definitely do not watch that one. And then I catched up on some classics. So I finally watched Saving Private Ryan, which is probably one of the classic army style movies that a lot of people recommended. And I only just go around to watching it. I really enjoyed it. It's not for everyone. It is pretty gory. Like the beach scene at the start is wow. But yeah, it's a classic film that should be checked out if you're into kind of the army style films. And I finally watched Meet Joe Black, which I love Brad Pitt as an actor. I always wanted to check out this film, but the fact it goes for 3 hours kind of threw me off a little bit. But it doesn't feel like it goes for 3 hours. I really enjoyed Meet Joe Black. The Brad Pitt's performance I absolutely loved. It was really cute, kind of like he is the devil, but not the devil, he's death. So the way they kind of have him introduced as kind of like this child learning new things, it was really interesting watching someone try new things for the first time. The scene with the peanut butter was hilarious. So if you haven't watched Meet Joe Black, I do recommend it. Even though it goes for 3 hours, it absolutely does not feel that long. So TV shows. I started The Baker and the Beauty, so that is on Stan for Australia. There is 4 episodes so far, and I am honestly loving it. I thought it was going to be horrible by the sounds of it. I thought it was going to be midday movie meet Two Broke Girls because of the bakery, but I loved it, and the chemistry they have is actually really natural. I'm really, really enjoying. I'm hoping they keep up because they have really moved the relationship pretty quick considering it's only 4 episodes. So I'm hoping they can keep the natural chemistry up and the storyline doesn't come across too forceful. Afterlife Season 2 is fantastic. I absolutely loved the first season. I only watched it last year. So I was really excited for Season 2 to come. And yeah, if you love Season 1, you will absolutely love Season 2. If you haven't checked out Afterlife, I highly recommend checking it out. It deals with grief really well. There's a good balance of grief and comedy. It doesn't overstep in any way, and it shows how everyone deals with it differently. So definitely check it out. If you're not a huge Ricky Gervais fan, I feel like you will enjoy this because I wasn't that huge into Ricky Gervais and I absolutely loved the show. The next one is The Big Show. So this stars WWE wrestler The Big Show. Basically it's this comedy. The first episode is really cringy. I wasn't really that into the first episode, but as you watch it, it is pretty funny. It's pretty enjoyable, especially with the youngest daughter, JJ, and they start getting other wrestlers to cameo. I never thought in a million years I would see Mick Foley, Rikishi, and Mark Henry sing I Want It That Way by the Backstreet Boys. But I'd seen that happen, and I loved it. It was really funny. The first episode you kind of have to just push through, but it does get way better. Another one where the first episode is pretty shit, but actually turned out to be a fantastic show is Never Have I Ever. So this one kind of looks at Indian culture. I don't know how accurate it is because I don't really know much about the culture, but it is very different take to most other TV shows that try and represent this culture. They do an incredible job, by my opinion. The performances, while cringy at times, and sometimes I really hated the lead character because everything was about me, and it's just like other things more important are happening to your friends, but you're too blind to see it. And it actually is super realistic. She's 15. This is natural. Most teenagers at that age are all about me. So I feel like it's actually a really good representation. I'm really excited for season 2 if they do renew it and where they will go with it. So yeah, Never Have I Ever. Maybe just skip the first episode because it was pretty horrible, but the TV show itself, as the season goes, gets way better. And there's only 10 episodes. The next show, I was judging this pretty heavy when they announced it. It looked horrible. I'm like, who would watch this garbage? Too hot to handle. The idea of these people being so hot that they couldn't turn down sex for $100,000 was just ridiculous to me. But then my best friend's like, how does this show work? Like, sign me up. Like, this is easy as shit. I'm like, there must be some catch. Like, one of them are actors hired to purposely sabotage them. Like, I was expecting something to be behind it. So I dived into that rabbit hole pretty quick. I need to know what was happening. And I just could not stop watching this show. Just the above ridiculous of some of these people and how they believe they're so hot that everyone in the world would want them is hilarious. Watching them justify a kiss and losing $3,000 is hilarious, because most of them are like, I can't be bothered having a relationship with this person if I'm not sexually attracted to them. I can only know if I'm sexually attracted to them if I kiss them. I'm like, weird logic, but okay. And then there's other ones where they just kept breaking the rules and they gave them a chance to win the money back and got so like tense, like, I don't trust them. How can the other people trust them? And like, it was just way better than I thought it was going to be. And then they have some male directed episodes where they write their fears down and tackle their fears. And then the female directed episode is understanding how your body works and why you should appreciate it more. So it sounds so ridiculous, but I actually really enjoyed watching it. So check it out. And also pretty much every person on the show has an Instagram account, so you can check out what they've been up to. Because they actually filmed the show last year. So it's been a year since it's been a thing for them. So you can catch up and see what happened in a year. It's actually pretty cool that one of the couples from the show are still together. So yeah, go down the rabbit hole and check it out. The next show I binged in basically a day was V-Wars. I love Ian Somerhalder. I adored him in The Vampire Diaries. I was kind of weirded out when a new vampire show with him in it was announced and he wasn't a vampire. I'm like, oh, this is going to be weird. But I was really interested in checking it out. I know it's by a graphic novel, and I was also looking at this board game called V-Wars to check out. And I'm like, oh, maybe I should watch the show first to see like kind of what it's about before I invest money into a board game that I might not enjoy. And I know it's weird logic, but it kind of finally forced me to check out V-Wars, and it was not worth the time. It was horrible. It was so boring. I am not surprised at all that it was cancelled. I guess it's good timing right now because of the pandemic that's going on in the world. Like, it's good timing with it. But they made the vampires so boring. The characters were boring. Even the performances. I love Ian Somerhalder. I loved him as Damon. But his character in this, Luther, has no personality. He is so bland. And Ian just looks bored in every single scene. And then you have Nikki Reed playing his ex-wife in this show. And I actually liked her in Twilight. I liked her in the OC and 13. And basically everything she did at least a decade ago. She is garbage in this TV show. I don't know whether it's just how they wrote the character or whether she just didn't care. But yeah, no one in this show was remotely interesting to watch. I was just really bored and just kept watching it because I'm like, surely it gets better at some point. And it does. At the very, very end of the season, you have Ian doing pull-ups, and those back muscles was worth the pain of seeing through such a garbage show. But not surprised at all that it was cancelled and won't be returning for season 2. Another show which was cancelled but I was really behind with watching was Luke Cage. I have finally finished season 2 of Luke Cage. I hate Luke Cage, but I basically just kept going in case he comes back in later seasons of Iron Fist, Jessica Jones, Daredevil, because I'm watching them in the order that they were done. And Luke Cage season 2 as well is up to, and now I'm up to Iron Fist season 2. So I basically just pushed myself through just in case it's relevant later, but honestly, I don't know how anyone really liked Luke Cage. He's a really shit character, and the fact that he constantly bitches in every episode like, my name is not Carl, don't call me Carl. Like, maybe if you just said, you know, whatever, my birth name's Carl, I accept it, you can't use this against me, it's not an insult. Like, they would stop fucking calling it you, Carl. Like, just move the fuck on. No one cares what your actual name is except you. So just let it go. Anyway, I had to rant about that because it's been pissing me off for 2 seasons. But anyway, I don't care if your name's Luke, I don't care if your name's Carl. Just stop whinging about your fucking name. Anyway, moving on. So, the next show I absolutely loved because it's so interesting. Every episode is about a different topic. I loved it. It was explained. So every episode is about a different topic, whether it's the pandemic episode, which was actually really interesting. Now they just did a coronavirus special. Worth checking out. You've got one on diamonds. You've got one on monogamy. You've got one on diamonds. Cricket. I'm not that huge into cricket, but they actually explained it in such a great way of how the scoring that works. That actually sounded interesting. So I think season 1 had about 20 episodes and season 2 only had about 8. So they are very short shows to watch, and I definitely think they're worth checking out. Even if you just watch the topic that you're interested in, there is so many different topics. There is K-pop, which I know is pretty big at the moment. So there is just episodes for everyone that I definitely recommend checking out. Especially just check out the coronavirus episode because it's good to be educated in what's going on in the world around you. And there's a lot of misinformation and fake news going on. So educate yourself some more. Another show, I didn't watch the whole thing because I just thought it was really stupid, was Midnight Gospel. It's basically a podcast with animation around it. While the animation is super weird and funny to watch, the podcast and what they're talking about is really boring and it just doesn't match what's going on. Like in the first episode, there's basically a zombie apocalypse in Australia, but they're talking about different drugs and whether they should be legalized or not. And either just have a podcast or just make a cartoon with what you're seeing. What they've done, while it's different, doesn't make it good. So I personally didn't like it. There might be people out there that did, but definitely wasn't for me. So far I've talked about movies: The Willoughbrys, Mark of the Devil, Dangerous Lies, Extraction, The Last Thing He Wanted, Saving Private Ryan, and Meet Joe Black. The TV shows was The Baker and the Beauty, Afterlife, The Big Show Show, Never Have I Ever, Too Hot to Handle, V-Wars, Luke Cage, Explained, Midnight Gospel, Clearly I Had Too Much Free Time, and now there was 2 video games that I want to talk about. So Final Fantasy VII Remake. I have never played the original. My partner is super obsessed with the original. He has a Sephiroth tattoo. And while I know some of what happened in the original, this is the first time I've really gone into this world. And I personally really enjoyed getting to know Midgar and getting to know the backstory on other characters. I like the storyline with Aerith. I like getting to know Tifa more. I like getting to know Jessie. And while Biggs is like, he's kind of a pain in the ass, but I did like his character. Um, so there was just a lot of characters that I really enjoyed getting to know more. Wedge, I liked. I forgot some of their names. It's been a while since I've now played it. So I enjoyed getting to know a lot of the backstories with all of the other characters. I enjoyed getting to know Midgar and progressing through the story, where a lot of other people that loved the original hated that they spent so much time on Midgar. So my opinion is very different there. I started losing interest around chapter 14 because this chapter is basically just all of the side quests. So if you enjoy doing the side quest, it's good. Like, it's a good chapter, but the side quests are very repetitive to what you already did earlier on and are still repetitive in this chapter. If you're not doing any of the side quests, chapter 14 is basically just a throwaway. There's really nothing of the storyline that has added substance to this. And then chapter 15 and 16 are really quick and enjoyable. And chapter 17 made me hate the game. So chapter 17 is just like a mini boss fight after boss fight after boss fight after boss fight. It doesn't stop. It is a super long chapter in this, what I thought was a really enjoyable game, and it just ruined the whole game for me. Chapter 17 was just such bullshit. Like, yes, I understand having boss fights while the characters are separated. Like, one character has one boss fight, the other characters have the other boss fight. But having one section where it's a boss fight and then you move on to like the next doorway and there's another boss fight was just absolutely fucked. And then not only do you have to deal with a massive robot that takes forever to destroy because he keeps throwing fire and shit at you. And then you have, I can't remember his name, Jason Statham, Lookaby up the top, that keeps shooting at you. He was a pain in the ass. A lot of the times I was not dying. It was just really time consuming of let them attack, dodge, attack, dodge, let them attack, dodge, attack. Like, it was just a constant routine. And it just got really boring. And so while I loved the game up until chapter 14 kind of threw me a little bit, and then chapter 17 just ruined it. I was really excited to platinum the game, and then I'm like, I don't want to play this game again on hard difficulty because I'm fucking bored over it. I'm sick of it. By the time I finished chapter 17 and was almost to the end point, I had to fight Sephiroth in the big battle, I was just over the game. I just did not care anymore. I want it done, like, instantly. I'm like, I don't even care. I don't want to try to beat this fight. I just want it done. So yeah, I loved it up until chapter 17, and then basically I got over it. I ended up trading my game in. If I ever want to play again, my partner still has his copy, so that's easy to play. But I was just disappointed because I was fighting so hard to convince my boyfriend to give it a chance. It's really good. It's good to get like a different story. It's a remake. It doesn't have to be the exact of the original. And then by the end of it, I'm like, nah, you're right. I fucking hate it. Anyway, on to another game that I originally was wrong about, but ended up absolutely loving, is Animal Crossing New Horizons. So I decided to buy a Switch Lite. My boyfriend owns a Switch that I bought him for his Christmas. So I played the Switch a few times with him, but this is my first Switch. I bought the Switch Lite, and Animal Crossing New Horizons is the first and only game I have bought for it so far. So originally I thought Animal Crossing was just a stupid child's game. My boyfriend went, I'm like, why do you want this stupid shit? And watching him play, I'm like, this actually looks like something I would enjoy playing. And then while I was thinking about buying a Switch, I'm like, I kind of want to buy a Switch just to play Animal Crossing, which I'm like, that's weird. So I decided, take the plunge, buy the Switch Lite. Of course the physical copies were sold out everywhere because, strangely, it is really popular. So then I bought the digital copy and I have non-stop played it every single day since buying it. I love this game. It is very simple. You basically make up your island, but for someone that loves playing The Sims, Hospital Tycoon, Roller Coaster Tycoon, these are my type of games. I don't know why I was so judgmental about it to begin with, but I absolutely love this game. I love my little island. Looking at other people's islands, I do get like, oh, I wish mine looked that good. But like, this is how much effort people are putting into this game. And it's really enjoyable. It's taking your mind off what's going on in the world. And this just proves, don't be so judgmental about games that you haven't played. You might look at a game and go, oh, this is stupid. Like so many people look at Call of Duty and go, oh, it's just for like teeny bopper boys. I personally like Call of Duty, except when it wants to steal all my data on my console because stop with your updates. But I was super excited to get this game and I'm absolutely loving it. I have basically been playing it non-stop because like every day you do get miles and bonus points. And I'm excited to see like what other things I can discover that I haven't yet. And yeah, so don't judge a game before you play it. You might look at a game and go, oh, that's not for me. But saying it's just for a demographic, assuming it's a child's game and me as a 28-year-old shouldn't be playing it was ridiculous. Because I loved it and I've talked my work colleague into buying it, and then it turns out someone else that I work with had it and they were all super excited to play together. So don't judge is the moral of the story with a lot of video games. I also finally platinumed Dark Souls 3, so I can stop procrastinating about that. That is now done. And now that The Last of Us Part 2 has had their release date announced again, I'm excited that it's coming again and there's a date, but I am really disappointed that people are purposely spoiling it. And now I have to avoid spoilers for the next month, and it's really frustrating, but I'm excited to get into that when it's finally out. So anyway, that is my recap for the last month. There's a lot of new shows like Dead to Me coming out on Netflix soon that I'm really excited to watch. But right now I'm just killing time rewatching one of my favorite shows, Prison Break, while playing Animal Crossing. So let me know how you are killing time. Let me know if you're still working, because I'm actually still working, but it's still just the same casual roles. I've still had basically the same amount of free time without going to the movies. So yeah, let me know how you're killing time, if you're out working, what you do. And thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, share, do the usual blah blah blah. I'm hoping that everyone is staying safe and that cinemas will one day reopen with a lot of fantastic movies. But right now, I am happy to be patient if that means everyone is safe.